Before any shoot or creative project I do, I will usually have a sense of anxiety that everything is gonna go wrong. And I don't think that ever goes away. I don't think it'll ever go away. But the reason that I feel like something is gonna go wrong every single time is because every single time I want to try something new. At the beginning, the something new would usually be a new piece of equipment that I didn't feel qualified to use. I remember the first time I ever did ACing for a job, which is, that's like pulling focus on sets, like for those big cameras where it takes 5 people to operate them. The first time I ever got hired to do that, I didn't even know what the job role was. I was looking on the train to the job that morning at how to do that job. And apparently I nailed it. I remember it was like for a short film, one of the shots I remember being really anxious about doing was we were on an 85mm at like 1.2. It was a slow motion shot, a push in on a dolly, and I had to nail focus on that shot. We had 2 takes. Got it on the first one. But yeah, the morning of, I didn't know you had wireless pull focuses or anything like that. Now, should you always push yourself to do things you don't know how to do? I think this comes with a certain amount of common sense. For example, this is a story for another time, but I once, when I was 19, ended up directing a video that I was in no way ready to direct. I mean, there was like 2 RE cameras, like a 6-person team, and up until this point I'd just done like very basic videography, but I managed to like blag my way into getting the job. I turned up to the meeting and like wrote fake notes in my notebook, pretending like I knew what was going on. Luckily everything on the shoot went well, but yeah, when it comes to pushing yourself, I think I definitely had some moments at the beginning where I pushed myself too far, and I learned where my limit was in terms of taking risks. But yeah, before most photo shoots, there'll be a moment in the morning where I'm sitting around having coffee and there is no one at the studio yet, and I'm just there going, how am I gonna fuck everything up today? And I think that's a good thing. You have to be prepared for this. You have to double check, make sure you've got all the right equipment, make sure you know what your lighting is. It comes down to preparation at the end of the day. But the reason I really feel anxiety before most shoots is because I'm usually gonna try something I've never done before. Or I'm gonna do something that I know you should probably have 2 or 3 people helping you to do. But because I do this every single shoot, every time I do a shoot, I amass one new skill, whether that is just learning how to set up a new piece of equipment or mount a new lens option, so that now it's at the point where someone can hire me for a job and something can go wrong, someone else they hired doesn't know how to do something, or something breaks, and I will know how to get it done without them having to cancel the shoot. Because I've got such a plethora of knowledge of how to get things done. I've worked so many different jobs on set that I can sort of step into any role. And this is another thing that's happening in the creative industry that I don't know if a lot of people are talking about. Because everything's becoming cheaper, people need more content, companies are downgrading sort of, who they're hiring. They're not hiring like big 15-person teams anymore when they can just sort of hire like a videographer and a photographer to do everything that needs doing. So now that there's a lot less people on set, it is so helpful when you are, just a videographer or just a photographer, but you know how all of these jobs on the big sets work, because you can step in and step up and sort of take on problems as and when they come on smaller sets. And because I always want to try something new on jobs, and because I've experimented in so many different ways now, it means that when I want to try something new and it doesn't go well, I sort of see the possibilities of how to maneuver that into, a setup that I might know how to do very well, or something that I might know works very well. So I guess what I'm saying is, I would encourage you to take risks, always, especially in the beginning, when the risks you're taking, they may feel like a huge risk, and then if everything goes wrong, then it's the end of the world. But in the first few years, most of the risks you're taking aren't going to be that big. If there's a big mess up on a project and, someone doesn't get the pictures for their restaurant menu taken perfectly, it's not a massive thing. for them to get another photographer in or someone, or to get you back later that day to try it again. I think, you know, I hear a lot of people in like these like business podcasts and stuff, they always say take as many risks as you can at the beginning. And I think that's very true for the creative industry as well. You should always be taking risks, but at the beginning you got to remember that the risks, you know, even if at the time it feels like a huge mess up, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, nothing's ever really that big of a deal. But at the beginning, it's really not that big of a deal.